Hey guys, this is Matt, and this is the first episode of the Ultimate Star Wars podcast in the universe.
I am Ashley Cole. I am his co-host, and for our first episode, we are going to be discussing Carrie Fisher's role in The Rise of Skywalker, kind of in honor of her passing away 3 years ago yesterday. Rest in peace, dear princess. All right, let's get into it.
So, she had quite a few scenes in the movie that I did not think she was going to have that much time in the movie.
No, they did a really good job, in my opinion, of finding that unused footage and even the deleted scenes from The Force Awakens. And I know that they actually did some, not photoshopping, but they actually did some digital work to take her and put her with a different background. And I feel like that was very, very well done.
I couldn't tell that was done at all. I like how none of it was CGI as far as she was concerned. The only thing that I thought was a little off or a little weird was the flashback scene of when they were younger. That to me looked a little off. It was cool. Like, I liked it. I liked the scene.
It was very relevant and it was much needed, but
yes.
It definitely had the Rogue One vibe to it that was just not as crisp as it could be. But all things considered, the scene was needed, in my opinion, to wrap up her character. So I'm okay with it.
It's one of those things where it wasn't the best ever, but I'd rather have the scene than not have the scene.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, do we want to talk about how her character has developed into, I guess, what would you say, full-blown Jedi? Whereas before, we never really got that sense.
Right. I mean, there's such a huge time period between 6 and 7 that so many things could have taken place. And I'm really hopeful that there will be novels, TV series, etc., to maybe look into that. But again, that's going to be very hard to do without obviously using her as CGI. Unless they went the novel route, which I love the books anyway. So,
well, the Leia book in and of itself mentions all of that. It's a good book. All right. Anyways, so all we've ever really seen, apart from The Last Jedi, was that we knew she was Force sensitive. They mentioned it in the original trilogy, how they hinted at it here and there. That, you know, when Luke called out to her and said Leia, she could hear him and say Luke back. So there was some minor things like that. But other than that, we really didn't get anything else from the original trilogy.
Right. I mean, like, you knew she was, but she hadn't started any training or anything like that. So I'm assuming that starts right after 6, which means she had years and years and years to develop into what she became in this last movie.
Yes. Well, there was the much, let's see, what's the right way to word it? The backlash scene, if you will, from The Last Jedi, where they finally introduced her using the Force to essentially save herself from space. And I understand the backlash from the scene, but I do think that it's cool that they at least incorporated the little tidbit of her finally using the Force and that she has those abilities.
Right. Yeah, I like that they put that scene in there. I think it looked a little off when they did it. But also there was no backstory to explain. Oh, I'm gonna have to edit that out.
We don't have to. Just keep going. Just keep going. It did just kind of come up out of nowhere, like that. You think, okay, this is it. Kylo just knocks her out, and then here she is, and she's back, and it took a lot out of her, and you know, it was all right. It still made me giddy. Like I said, I still feel like it could have looked better. It could have been better done. Maybe a different route. But all things considered, this is what we have to work with. And I think it's still cool that they showed her using the Force. So they're finally wrapping that up, though, in The Rise of Skywalker. And they had the Force sensitivity from the original trilogy. They had her using it a little bit in The Last Jedi. So here we have full-blown Leia. Now she's a master. She's Rey's master, and she's training her in those opening scenes.
I think that the problem with the one in The Last Jedi was there was no backstory to it. And now we have the full story. So I'm hoping people rethink the way that scene came off. Let's talk about when Han showed up to Kylo Ren. Because I saw somebody say that they think that that was Leia projecting to him.
Let's wait to get to that point. Let's go. Let's try and do. You want to do chronological order here?
We can.
We're wrapping her up with her training. She's now a master. She's training Rey. There's the flashback footage of the Luke and Leia. So we've accomplished all of that. So we have she has a lightsaber that's being used. That's awesome. So let's get into, I guess, how she dies in the movie, because that plays a part into between what I've read, listened to, my own theories about what I think that means with that Han Solo scene.
What do you think?
So Maz mentions, that it would take all the strength that she has left to do what must be done, right? And so you see the scene where Kylo kind of has the advantage over Rey. She's used a lot of her Force abilities, and he's finally overpowering her. She's drained. So Leia makes that connection with Kylo by saying Ben, and you kind of see him, stop, turn around. He feels her presence, kind of like you see that connection with them in The Last Jedi. So he drops the saber, obviously. Rey catches it, pierces him. We probably should have mentioned at the beginning of this that there's spoilers. We'll have to mention that in the title. But yeah, so instantly, though, Rey feels that connection and says, I believe she whispers Leia. So she realizes that there's more to it and heals him. And then from there, I like to think that, so her spirit has then embodied Ben. We'll go ahead and call him Ben from here on out, I guess. So she is now under the sheet. She's dead, essentially, but her spirit is with him. And I believe that spirit is what's helping guide him and allowing him to relive that scene with his father. And that scene that you see from The Force Awakens, only he gets to make the right call and throw away the lightsaber versus killing his father.
Right. Like he did before. It almost replayed the same exact scene when he killed Han Solo, except this time he made the right decision.
Yes. So kind of, I feel like kind of righting his wrongs, if you will, proving to himself, or basically to himself or even his mom, that he has changed. And I almost feel like maybe she was testing him by doing that. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. I like to think that she has a part in that scene in order for him to move past all of that. Because he always says, let the past die. And I feel like he needed to relive that out in order to let it go.
Pause. All right, this will take some editing. I completely lost my train of thought.
Do you agree with that, though? Do you see that? Do you think she had something to do with with reliving that scene out?
Yes, because obviously Han Solo was not Force sensitive whatsoever, so it wasn't really him showing up. It was more of a vision that I think Leia had something to do with. I feel that was 100% her. I don't think Ben understood that. I feel like Ben thought he was really seeing his father, or some sort of apparition, or just a memory. But I feel like it really got to him.
I think Leia doing that she fully embodied her son, essentially. And almost as if she was allowing Ben to still know that how much she still loves him and that they have this connection. And I feel like that's kind of what he needed to know that he wasn't alone and that she was still there with him.
And that was kind of really the last scene that involved her, other than when she just kind of disappeared the same
Well,
time Ben died.
right. So yeah, because you see, she takes her last breath. She has the medallion that she drops that, and that's the one that she had given to Han. And then after that, you just see her body under a sheet. They have, some other scenes that happen with that body still under the sheet, so you know that that body's still there, while Kylo is continuing, or Ben is continuing to take out the Knights of Ren and then go see Rey and all the other scenes that he has in order to right his wrongs. And all the way up until where you see Rey essentially, I don't know if she dies or if she's on her way out, and he sacrifices himself and kind of drains what's left of his life into her so that she could live. And then he disappears, and when he disappears, then Leia can disappear at the same time, and they were able to basically rest together, because I think they were one unit at that point. And I think I thought that was beautifully done.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like I agree with what you said, that she basically embodied him. So she was alive in him. So when he was gone, she was gone, and they both disappeared at the same time.
Yes.
So I think the whole, because they say every movie, episode 7 had to do with Han Solo, 8 was Luke Skywalker, and 9 was really about Leia. I mean, it was about Rey and Kylo Ren.
It
But
was
like, as far as
supposed to be Carrie Fisher's movie. That is how they had written it. It was supposed to be her movie, and I still think they did a good job, all things considered, in making it about her.
well, I think when you say it's about her, like when you look back at episode 7 being about Harrison Ford, it was really about Rey and Finn. But Harrison Ford was mainly the old character in that movie. Then you
Yes,
go
the
to
original trilogy spotlight, if you will, for these 3 movies.
right. So the original trilogy spotlight for this one would have been Leia, but
Yes.
mainly it was Rey. But I mean, Carrie Fisher got most of screen time out of any original trilogy character.
Yep.
And I just think it was beautifully done, the fact that all that was old footage and somehow they made it work. So I give a lot of props to J.J. Abrams for that one.
I love how they didn't CG a lot of, out of respect, that they didn't go that route, and that makes me very happy as well. And those scenes, I admit I cried. I cried. That scene where Rey, I cried when I saw it on the trailer where she's hugging Leia, Carrie Fisher, and the tear streams down her face, and I'm like, they didn't know when they filmed it, but looking back at it now, I'm like, oh. And then the memorial scene with her, that was very touching.
Well, going back to what you said about, you like that they didn't use CGI. I mean, if they had used CGI, there would have been such an uproar. Like,
Yes.
I wouldn't have liked it. I don't think you would have liked it. Like, no matter if the story was the exact same, every line, everything was the same, I would have not liked the movie. Just because I would have felt that was disrespectful to her in a way.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's not her at that point, and she has been a massive part of this entire saga. So yeah, mad props to them. And I knew a little bit about them, like I said, taking scenes from her and changing the background. And I didn't notice it too much until afterwards, and I saw pictures where you can kind of see the blurring around her face to change the background. But you know what? I'd rather them change that background all day, every day, and keep the original her in everything. So yes, well played to all of them.
Well, I think that's about it for this one.
Yeah, I agree. I have nothing more to say. Very happy with how you and I think are both on the same page. We're very happy with how it went down and her character story and everything.
So, a couple things before we go. We're gonna do a movie review. We're gonna do a Mandalorian review. We got tons of content coming up. I've got different actors that have agreed to come on and do some interviews. So we got tons of stuff coming up. I want to give a big shout out to Acme Archives. Sent Ashley and I some amazing artwork that I will get posted up on the page. I'll put links out there for y'all to go check it out. So go by their website, show them some love, give them a like on Facebook. Also stop by and check out our page, the Ultimate Star Wars page in the universe. We will see y'all on the next episode.